Awesome. And we're going to start this morning standing. I've got my cat tights on because when Bill's not here, the cats seem to come around more. There's just a little different energy. But this morning, we're going to start opening up our side bodies. But first, we want to do some grounding. So give yourself a wide stance. Your feet are heavy, a slight bend in the knees. Let's externally rotate our shoulders, open up the palms, close your eyes. And these first initial breaths, just imagine roots underneath your feet that are pulling you down to the earth. And just allow gravity to make feel the bones as really heavy. Everything is rooting you down to the earth. And even though it's early, just those initial movements this morning, making your coffee, getting out of bed, all of that energy already, we want to just draw it in, reclaim that energy, come back into the body, and connect with the breath. So just take a few more breaths here, feeling the rise in the chest, with the full inhale and the softening, the releasing on the exhale. And take one more inhale. We'll let it go. And keeping the eyes soft or closed, I invite you to bring your prayer to your heart center and taking a moment to set an intention, a prayer, a mantra, or maybe dedicating our practice out into the world to someone that might need a little extra love, support, guidance, assistance. Beautiful. And we'll flutter our eyelids open. We'll release our hands alongside our body. And we're going to open up our side body. So we'll start with our left shoulder. We're going to lift it up. And that right hand is going to descend down your right leg. And that left shoulder is going to follow. Your head is released and your hands are going to fold down to the floor. And then on the inhale, that left shoulder lifts. Our sternum lifts. The right shoulder lifts. The left hand descends down. The head is heavy as we fold on the other side of the body. So we're just rhythmically moving, opening up the side body, head is heavy, let gravity pull you down, your toes are spread wide. Then the opposite shoulder leads, our sternum lifts, the opposite shoulder up, and we allow the body to fall down to the side. So just a couple more alongside the body. Again, it doesn't look a particular way, but we're just feeling, keeping the eyes soft or closed. And we'll take one more each side. So that left shoulder is going to lift, our sternum lifts, opposite shoulder as we slide down the body, and then we'll just come back to neutral. And inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Take that right hand on the left wrist. We extend, find that length through the body, a soft bend in the knees, and then lift up and over. Swallow. And beautiful, we come back to neutral. Take the opposite wrist crease, find the wrist, we find that length, and then lift up and over. And beautiful, we come back to center. Again, I'm taking my right hand on my left wrist. We're going to lift up, and now we're going to rotate around. So just like we did on the other side, but you're holding onto one of your wrists, then you pass through center, and then that opposite shoulder lifts up, and we come back to neutral. Now take the left hand on the right wrist, we lift, and then we're going to rotate around again. A slight bend in the knees, rotate through center, then that opposite shoulder lifts up, and we'll take the opposite wrist one more time each side. So opening up, finding that breath. Our toes are spread wide, and we extend Beautiful. Last side, we reach for the opposite wrist, we lengthen, and then rotate around. Navel is engaged. We're rooting, we're lifting, we're breathing. Beautiful. And then we'll extend our fingers all the way down to the sides of our thighs. Nice. And we'll come onto the floor. And we're going to start with some core. So a couple of options. You always have that option to support behind your feet and extend. We're going to do 10 crunches this morning. So maybe taking your hands to your heart center, we breathe in, and exhale, we lengthen. Inhale, we squeeze, and we extend. We're breathing, take your time, lengthening. Inhale and exhale. Maybe you just keep your hands here supported. We have 5 more. We breathe in and we lengthen. Last 4, extend, really warming up that body at the core. Last 2, we lengthen. Last one, we breathe in, extend. Now hug those knees in, feet are flat. We root our hands and we'll lift up. We lift up our front body into that tabletop. So we're going to do a breath control here. Kapalabhati breathing. So you're just going to breathe on the exhale through your nose, working on the diaphragm. So we're going to do 20 breaths. So you don't need to worry about the exhalation. You're just breathing out. It'll come in. So start by breathing. You're pumping in that diaphragm. Last 10. Exhale the air out. Beautiful. And we'll just wrap our arms around the legs, forehead to the tops of your knees. Warming up that body with that Kapalabhati breathing. Beautiful. Then we'll lift up our head and we'll come onto our hands and knees. So a few cat-cows to warm up the spine a little more. So we exhale the air out, drop the head, root through the shins, press the palms into the earth. Then inhale, reach that heart forward, eyes up towards the sky. Exhale, that navel draws in, head is loose, shake out that head. Inhale. Let's exhale the air completely. 2 more here. Enjoying that breath. We exhale, pull that navel in. Last full inhale. Beautiful. Exhale the air out. We'll come back to neutral and take that left knee more in the center of the mat. So we're going to lift, let me face you guys. We're going to lift our right knee up, shin is parallel, and we'll open up our hip joint with that bent knee. So we're breathing, we're rooted. Fingers are spread wide. And let's change direction. Maybe slow down those revolutions. We're moving that synovial fluid around. And after you finish that last revolution, just take that right knee behind the left and just gaze towards that heel. So we're fanning that right side of the body open. Getting a gentle stretch on our neck. And then we'll take the other side. So we'll lift that left knee. Shin is parallel and slow revolutions. So hands directly underneath your shoulders. Maybe inviting a smile to your lips. Or not, and we'll change direction. We're breathing. Beautiful, lubricating those hips. Finish that last revolution, take that left knee behind the right. And just gaze towards that heel, those left ribs fan wide. Gentle opening on the left side of the neck. Beautiful. Then we'll unwrap that knee. Let's tuck our toes under. Lift those sits bones. And walk your feet towards the heel of your hands. So a nice wide stance. Slight bend in the knees. Find opposite elbows. Just pour yourself over those thighs. The crown of the head is reaching to the floor. The knees can be as bent as they need to be. Now breathe between the spaces of your toes. Maybe give them a wiggle. Shake out that head. We'll release the elbows. Take your hands forward, walk your feet back, and just a few petals here with the feet, opening up the arches. Then coming onto the balls of the feet, lifting those heels as high as you can, lift through those sits bones, press your chest closer to your thighs. Then we'll find a deep bend in the knees. They hover just a couple of inches above the mat. We find that deep hip crease. Then we lengthen, expand, open up the backs of the knees, draw the heels down. We'll take two more like that. We find that lift, we hover, shake out that head, then begin to blossom. Lift those sits bones, back of the knees open, and the heels draw down to the ground. Beautiful, one more. We come onto the balls of the feet, opening up the arches. Those knees hover. When we're in this crouching position, we engage our core, navel in and up towards the spine. So your power center is activated. We lift those sits bones and draw those heels down. Shake out the head. Right leg lifts. And we'll step it forward into our warrior one. Starting with our sun salutations here to warm up the body. Let's release the hands down. Our right leg back. Cycle through your vinyasa, a high to low plank, a cobra, maybe an upward dog. Beautiful, downward dog. Exhale. That left leg lifts. We find warrior one. Foundation with the feet, and we rise. And then vinyasa. Hands to the mat, left leg back, high to low. Cobra or upward dog. Downward dog, exhale. Pause and breathe here. Feeling with each inhalation that lengthening, the softening with each exhalation. Take one more breath in. We let it go. We bend our knees, walk or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Then rise. Sip in that breath. We'll cactus our hands. Our heart is lifted. Full breath in. Then melt forward, Uttanasana. We take our time. We find that halfway lift. Navel is engaged. Step or just walk your feet back. High to low plank. A cobra or upward dog. Downward dog, exhale. Our right leg lifts. We find warrior one and rise. Hands release, right leg back, cycle through your vinyasa, high to low. You can always drop that, and those knees are at extra push-ups. We're made in downward dog, pause and breathe. Left leg lifted high, step it forward, warrior one. And hands release. Beautiful, that left leg back, high to low plank, that cobra or up dog. We'll meet in downward dog. Eyes towards the back of the mat, lengthening out the neck. Fingers are spread wide. We're rooting through that thumb and forefinger. But trying not to put too much weight on the inner wrist. So you want to find the outside of the hands as well. Again, imagining roots from your hands all the way down to the core of the earth. Let's take one more full inhale. We exhale the air completely, bend the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. That halfway lift, fold forward, Uttanasana, then we rise. Our feet are rooted, our heart is lifted. We blossom open with the cactus hands, full inhale, beautiful, and melt forward. Gorgeous, everyone. We find that halfway lift. Step or jump those feet back, high to low plank, a cobra or upward dog. We'll meet in downward dog, pause and breathe. One more sun salutation A. Right leg lifts as lightly as you can. Step that foot forward, ride that breath high. Then we melt forward, right leg back, moving with your own breath. Cobra or up dog. Nice, downward dog, exhale. Last side, left leg lifts. It steps forward. We root our feet, lift our heart with the inhale, and then descend, left leg back, high to low. That cobra or upward dog. We'll meet in downward dog, pause and breathe. Eyes towards the back of the mat. Shake out that head. Activating those heels to the floor. Now lifting that right leg high. Let's step it outside the right hand, and we'll drop that left knee to the earth. So opening up that left hip flexor. Both hands are on the inside of the front foot. That right foot's on a 45-degree angle. Breathing here. Slow down that breath. So after a few breaths, maybe exploring a little deeper opening here. So coming onto your forearms, you can always use that brick to bring you midway. And for some of you, taking a bend in that left knee, reach that right hand behind, find the top of the foot and draw that heel in. I like to bring my left hand towards my right ankle. We spin our chest up, or just stay where you are, a few more breaths. Take one more inhalation here. On an exhale, we release. Tuck those left toes under. Step that right leg back. Pause for a moment in high plank. Nice. To low plank. A cobra or upward dog. We'll meet in downward dog. Eyes towards the back of the mat. Now our left leg lifts. We step that left leg outside the left hand. It's on a 45-degree angle. And then drop that right knee to the earth. Untuck the toes. So the hands are in the center of your mat. You're opening up those hips, that right hip flexor. Find that breath. And after a couple more breaths here, maybe explore a little deeper opening. So again, that brick or forearms to the ground. And maybe exploring the other side. So we take a deep bend in that right knee. Left hand reaches behind. Find the top of the foot. Or just, if that's challenging, just find that bent knee. Right there, it activates that quadricep. Find that breath. Beautiful. One more inhale here. We release on the exhale. Tuck those right toes under, step that left leg back. High plank to low. A cobra or upward dog. We'll meet in downward dog, pause and breathe. Eyes towards the back of the mat. So lifting that right leg high. Take that knee outside the right elbow and pause. And extend. Next inhale, we take that knee to the nose. And lengthen. Now take the knee outside that left elbow or tricep and extend and step it forward into your high lunge. Come all the way up. Beautiful. draw those floating ribs back in towards the center part of your body. Full breath in here. On an exhale, we hover that left knee to the earth. Let's just rotate our shoulders up, and then we'll rotate the shoulders around that left knee hovers. Beautiful. So the circular motion with the arms, we rotate them around, hover that left knee. We'll take 2 more. The back leg straightens, we find that length. We rotate around and hover. 1 more. Sip in that breath, rotate around, hover, and find that crescent lunge. Palms are facing that center line. We find that breath, and then open up to the right. Find that beautiful twist, and we'll release that back hand. Left hand reaches high, that right knee is tracking over the ankle. 2 more breaths. Beautiful, 1 more inhale. On an exhale, hands to the mat, right leg back, high to low. Here comes the mountain lion, cobra or upward dog. We'll meet in downward dog, pause and breathe. Other side, that left leg lifts. Take the knee outside that left elbow, we pause and extend. Next inhale, take the knee to your nose and lengthen. Now that knee outside the right tricep or elbow and extend, then step it forward into that high lunge. Ride that breath all the way up. So just pause here for a moment. Track that left knee over the left ankle. Fingers are spread wide. Draw those floating ribs back into the body. You can always modify by taking that right knee to the earth. So we're going to rotate those shoulders around. That right knee hovers. Then we sip in the breath. We lengthen through the legs and then rotate around and hover. Beautiful. 3 more like that. So move with your breath. We hover. From that rootedness, we lift. We open, expand, and hover. Beautiful. 1 more like that. We extend, rotate, hover, and then extend into that high lunge. Rooting and reaching through that back heel. Now just blossom open to the left. Find that scissor action. Now that left hand goes to the back of the right leg. Right hand lifts. That left knee is tracking over the left ankle. Beautiful. 2 more breaths. And then we'll cycle our hands to the floor. Left leg back. High to low plank. A cobra or up dog. We'll meet in downward dog. Pause and breathe. On your inhalation, find your way to high plank. Spin your heels to the right for Vashisthasana. So I'm going to show the modification this morning. Right knee on the floor, left hand reaches high, or your feet are stacked. Your chest and hips are towards the side, so a beautiful side plank. Right hand is directly underneath your right shoulder. Our tendency is to have that hand forward. That creates a lot of instability. So lining up those major joints, stay here, or we'll draw that elbow to your knee and you lengthen. We connect with our core and extend. 3 more, we breathe in and out. Last 2, extend. Beautiful, you guys. Last one, maybe they connect. We lengthen. And then find your way into high plank, and we'll step or reach back into a downward dog. Eyes towards the back of the mat. Breathing here. On the next inhale, find your way to high plank. Now spin your heels in the opposite direction to the left for Vashisthasana. Again, I'm going to take the modification this morning. Left knee to the floor, right hand reaches high. So make sure that hand is directly underneath your shoulder. Breathing here. If you're in the full position, Your legs are either stacked or you can offset them. And let's find a little core connection. So drawing that knee into the elbow and we lengthen. Beautiful. Breathing and extending. 3 more. We squeeze. We breathe. Last one. Elbow in towards your knee. We lengthen. Nice. Now hand to the floor. And let's cycle through a vinyasa, high to low plank, a cobra or upward dog. Nice, downward dog, exhale. And let's find child's pose. Spread those knees wide, drop into your hips, slight bend in those elbows. Walk your elbows closer to your knees. And you can place one hand on top of the other, forehead to the floor. Slow down that breath. Swallow a few times. Feeling those toenails as they connect with the mat. Try unhinging that jaw. And let's extend our hands and walk our hands towards the left side of the mat, right hand on top of the left. Feel that stretch on the right side body. And we'll walk our hands in the opposite direction. And take that left hand on top of the right. Root through the hips. Finding that breath. And then we'll walk our hands back to center and taking just a modification to this posture. So I'm stacking my hips over my knees. I'm coming down onto my elbows. I'm melting through my chest. You can bring your forehead to the floor and take the prayer over your head, melting through your heart. A little deeper expression for some of you is maybe bringing your chin towards the floor. So we're opening more middle and upper back. Just let that belly be soft. Again, find the shins rooting, whatever's connected to the floor, the elbows, the toes, the tops of the feet. Feel that support. Couple more breaths here. Take one more inhale. We'll let it go and release our hands to the floor. Come onto our hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Lift those sits bones. And let's walk our hands and feet into that center of your mat. And just unwind the spine. Take your time. A full breath in. And we'll bring our hands to our heart center. Samastitihi. Open up those collarbones. Swallow a few times. And then we'll allow those eyes to flutter open. And we'll start by hugging that right knee in. So open up the ankle. Couple directions, a couple twists in each direction. Again, keeping our eyes eye level. So that left hand roots on your hip. We reach for our peace fingers. So everyone, no matter what your mobility is this morning, see if you can find the big toe with your fingers. Our heart is lifted. We stay grounded here. And maybe you can start reaching that heel towards the front of your space. So maybe you get this far. For some of you, finding that full expression. Another option is always to use a strap around the top of the foot. You can hold it with both of your hands. It's a great way to find that length without compromising the body. So we're playing that edge. Now let's open it up. So the knee or the heel to the side. And I like to extend that left hand for balance. So our heart is lifted. You are getting the same benefits with just having that bent knee. So again, we're content where we are. Find that breath. Maybe take your gaze over the opposite shoulder. Now we'll bring that heel or knee to the center of our space. That opposite hand comes outside the right foot or right knee. We find that expression of the posture and take that right hand behind you. So my eyes are looking straight ahead. We're working and playing with our balance. So maybe take your eye gaze towards the side. Find that balance. And maybe you go a little further. So taking your eyes to find that right thumb. If you fall out, just come right back in. Beautiful. And then we'll take our eyes back to center. Keep that leg where it is. Our hands reach up high. We flex that foot. Little pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. We'll find the Bikram version of tree. So the right heel towards that left hip. And just allow gravity to draw that right knee to the floor. So you're holding onto that right foot, a tall spine. Find that breath. And maybe bring one hand to your heart. For some of you, bringing both hands to your heart. We're breathing. Couple more breaths here. Let's take one more full inhale. If you fell out, we just come right back in. And we'll gently release that leg. Let's just shake it out between sides, twisting the spine, our toes spread wide. So letting go of that holding. Let's just shake that energy out. And we'll come to the other side. So we start with that left knee bent. We find the twist with the ankle. That right foot is rooted. And let's everyone, again, just find the peace fingers around the left big toe. So maybe you're bent over a little. We want to see if we can lengthen through the spine. And if it's challenging, just hang on to the knee or just explore. So maybe the leg goes this far. Again, we're not ever trying to get to a certain destination. We're opening up the body. Beautiful. Find that extension. Now we open the heel or the knee to the side and explore what balance helps with you. I like to extend my hand, but you can keep it on your hip. Again, if you fall out, we just come right back into it. Breathing here. Our heart is lifted, opening up the collarbones. That right foot is supporting you. Really nice balance, everyone. So now we'll draw that heel or knee back to center. Beautiful work. We take our time. That opposite hand reaches for the outer edge of the foot. Again, take your time extending that leg. And the left hand comes behind you. My eyes are straight ahead, eye level, and maybe explore looking for that opposite thumb. So taking your eyes to the side. You have the scissor action in the thighs. Maybe taking your eye to find that left thumb. Heart is lifted. Our breath is steady. And then we'll slowly take our eyes back to the center. We keep that left leg where it is. Extend those arms. Flex the foot. And little pulses. 4. Moving from our core. 3, 2, on 1, we find that Bikram version. So left heel towards that right hip point. Stay keeping that foot supported. Allow gravity to just slowly bring that knee to the floor. A nice deep opening here in the hip, as well as finding the balanced posture. Breathing here, taking one hand to your heart. So use props. If your balance is compromised, find a banister, the wall. We're building brain, we're building pathways that the body will, over time, just come back and can come into this posture. So 2 more breaths here. Nice work, everyone. Last full inhale. We'll slowly release that leg and a full breath in. Melt forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift. Step or jump those feet back. High to low plank. Cobra or up dog. We'll meet in downward dog. Pause and breathe. So dropping onto our knees. Maybe taking a little bit of your mat to create a little more cushion. We'll find our Ustrasana. So our Camel Pose, our toes tuck under for our first one. Hands start on our hips. So we draw those elbows towards the back of the space. Lift from our breastbone, our sternum. Eyes up towards the sky as our hip points move towards the front of our mat. Again, those elbows are hugging in. Our throat is open, our eyes are bright. We may go a little further by reaching for the heels. So melting through that middle and upper back. No straining. Rhythmic breathing in and out through the nose. Beautiful, 1 more breath here. Exhale it completely. Then come back to center. And let's just take our hands to the floor. Couple of cat-cows here. Shake out that head. Let's just take 1 more breath in and out. And come back for our second Ustrasana. So we walk our hands up our thighs. Same setup. This time, my shins are rooted. We open up the tops of the feet. Again, a little easier if you tuck your toes under, your heels are a little higher. So use what option is best for you. We start by hugging those elbows in, keeping those floating ribs back into the body, moving from our core. We press our hips forward, open up the throat, stay here, or explore a little deeper. So heels for some of you. Feeling that beautiful bow position with the body. Unhinge that jaw. Take another full breath here. Exhale the air out. And we'll slowly come back up. Beautiful. Hands to the floor. Let's cross our ankles and extend those legs. Great, we'll shake them out. And since we warmed up the body, let's take 2 bridges or wheels. And then we're gonna allow plenty of time to open up our hips. So feet are heavy, finding our bridge. Let's lift our sits bones and let's make this a moving bridge this morning. So our hip bones are lifted. We'll take our arms up overhead. Back of the hands are connected with the floor. Now lift up that front body, and on an exhalation, slowly allowing the back body and our hands to connect with the mat at the same time. So 3 more like that. Move with your breath. We inhale, everything is lifted. And then like an elevator, we slide down those floors one by one, hands and back body to the mat. So last 2. You can close your eyes and just feel this movement. Exhale, you're floating through space. And last one, we inhale, we expand, open, and then let go, release, relax, be. Hug those knees in. Lick your lips. And one more bridge or full wheel. So we'll open up our knees, bridge, same, you can do a moving sequence or just keep your hips lifted. I'm gonna walk through full wheel. So hands underneath your shoulders. Bridge people, please go right into it, lift those hips. We root our hands and feet, come onto the crown of your head, hug those elbows in, then from rooted hands and feet, expand. Lengthen through the arms, you can walk those feet in, shake out the head, breathing here. Two more breaths. On that last inhale, we draw our chin in, unwind that spine slowly, and we'll find Suktobatakanasana, the soles of our feet together, both hands on our heart. Pausing here. Slow everything down. Lick your lips. Clean your teeth with your tongue. And remembering that mantra, prayer, intention, dedication, whatever we said at the beginning of class, just bring that into your heart center. Nice, and we'll flutter our eyelids open, hands outside those knees, hug those knees in. And we're gonna rock our spine a few times into that downward dog position. I cross my ankles, hands to the floor. You can cycle through a vinyasa. Otherwise, our right leg is going to lift high and we'll find Kapalabhati Pigeon. So right knee towards our right thumb, that left leg extends. We come onto our arms, we lift our hearts. Now walk your hands forward, settle in to your pigeon. So we're gonna be here for about 60 seconds. So giving your mind something to do, just trace your breath in and out through the nose. And it's so easy to cheat in this position, just to hang out into that hip. So you want to draw that left hip point to the floor. Honoring that knee. If you have knee challenges, we come onto our back and do figure four. Otherwise, see if you can melt through the shoulders. Allow those hips to do the work. Taking your time. Five more counts in and out through your nose here. Are you clenching through your jaw? Can you soften the jaw? Let the tongue be loose. Maybe part your lips. And I like to rest my third eye spot, right that area, right between my eyebrows on the top of my hands. Let's take one more full breath here. Exhale the air out. And then we'll lift our heart and we'll find our double pigeon. So from here, a little weight into that right hip. We track that left knee on top of the right knee. So there may be a lot of space here. It just has to do with the opening of your hips. We stay supported, hanging onto our ankles, or play your edge. Walk your fingers forward. So right here, I feel all of the sensations building. So send your breath to the tightness. For me, the whole practice of yoga is about the breathing. It's not about these postures. But if you find that breath in yoga, anytime throughout the day, you're practicing yoga. Our breath is our most important tool. Keeps us present. It's beautiful. Take 3 more breaths here. We'll take one more final full inhale. Exhale the air out. We come back to center before we go to the other side. Just unwrap those legs and we'll find our Navasana. So the shins are parallel. We have that tall spine. Extend those arms, maybe extend those legs. So breathe into that belly. Ujjayi breath, cultivating that warrior breath. One more inhale. We cross our ankles, hands by our hips. We lift. And again, Navasana, supported or extended. Breathe to the belly. Creating our own heat in the body. Beautiful. One more inhale. We cross opposite ankle, hands by your hips. Feet can root to the floor. You can lift off. One more Navasana. So if you're tired, support yourself, but lift that heart. Send the breath to the belly. Opposite ankle on top, hands by your hips. We lift and cycle through a vinyasa or just meet in downward dog. From downward dog, we extend that left leg high and find Kapalabhati. Finding pigeon on the other side. So left knee towards our left thumb, right leg extends. We untuck our toes. So finding that connection with the earth here. Notice if you're hanging out in that left hip, that right hip point towards the floor. Walk your hands forward. And then you can bring that third eye towards your palms. Notice if your shoulders are hunching, we draw them away from the ears. We melt through our heart. And for the next minute, follow and trace that breath in and out through the nose. And even something easy, such as tracing that breath in and out through the nose, we get distracted. So maybe I invite you to explore maybe counting the inhalations. Just see how many breaths it takes for the next 30 seconds or so. Just counting those breaths. Using the breath to send it to that left hip. Enjoying the breath as it fills up through the lungs. And then we gently exhale the air out all the way from the belly, all that stale air out. Just a couple more breaths here. Watching the mind as it's already planning, judging, thinking. Just come back to that breath. Last full inhale. Beautiful long exhale. And we'll lift our hearts, walk our hands in, weight into that left hip. We'll draw that right knee up and over. So we find that double pigeon. Again, that knee may be lifted. You can always take the foot to the floor as well. So honoring where you are, walking your hands forward. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. Relax your face. And our yoga practice doesn't always have to be vigorous. Slowing down. We see so much more when we slow down in life. It's been my mantra I've been working on for maybe 20 years. But I'm still trying to slow down letting go, doing less, just being. We'll take another full breath here. Nice long exhalation. We'll come up. Let's uncross our legs. We have one more abs here to do, so let's come on our back body. Feet are parallel, hands behind our head, and opposite elbow to knee. So warming up that core, reaching as far as you can with your elbows. And again, you can always extend your legs. We have about 20 more seconds. So slowing it down or speeding it up. Find that breath. Last 10. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug those knees in. And let's take one more hip opener this morning. So we'll find our figure 4 on our backs. Flex both of your feet. Draw that left knee in. Feel that back body as it roots, connects to the mat, the floor. And let your face soften. Allow those eyes to get heavy in the sockets. Soften through the jaw. Allow the forehead, the temples to relax. We'll squeeze that left knee in. One more breath. Nice. And then we'll cross the legs just like we did double pigeon. That right thigh on top of the left. We come onto that left side of the hips as we allow those knees to fall towards the left. You can cactus your hands. An option to gaze over that opposite shoulder. So right here, let the body soften, melt, and let go. And we'll come back to center, unwrap those legs, just hug those knees in between sides. And we'll take the left ankle on top of the right thigh. We flex both of our feet and reach that right knee in towards our chest. So hands support underneath that right knee, maybe underneath the thigh. Keep that left knee opening so you find that triangle position with the space in between your legs. Relax that jaw. Couple more breaths here. Slowing everything down. And then we'll release, and taking that left thigh on top of the right, we come towards the left side of the mat and allow those knees to fall over to the right. You can cactus your hands out to the side. Rather intense stretch here. Maybe take your gaze over the other shoulder. So not a very active posture, but so much is happening here. A beautiful spine release, abdomen release, hip release. And we'll take a final full inhale. Exhale the air out. Come back to center, unwrap those legs. Now we'll bring the soles of our feet together. Find those ankles one more time. Elbows in the inner knees. We open up those knees as those heels drop towards our inner groins. Swallow. So matching up the toes towards one another. See if you can feel the heat from your feet. as they connect. And then finding the inner arches of our feet. Let's find our happy baby, rocking side to side. And then pause, finding some stillness here. And keep that left leg bent. We'll extend that right leg. We'll draw that right leg back, keep it in that happy baby position, and now that left leg extends. And then we'll come back to center. And before we go into Shavasana, let's take an inversion here. So you can just keep your feet lifting up towards the sky. If you have a wall close to you, you can bring your legs up the wall, or you always have the option to take a block underneath you. So just finding that supported inversion here, maybe flex your feet. Allow the body to be heavy. Allow gravity to pull you to the center core of the earth. Quieting the mind. These inversions are so good for the body. They're anti-aging, reversing the flow of the blood, the circulation. Great to do if you're standing a lot throughout the day, or if you're on airplanes a lot, putting the legs up the wall. One of my favorite postures. So you can stay here for the next minute, or otherwise finding Shavasana, extend the legs to the floor, palms up towards the sky. And just 1 minute here to do nothing. And watching the mind, how it wants to pull, to get out of class, to plan breakfast, come back, just a few more breaths. Allow the body just to be. Take a final full inhalation. Let it go. And dancing the toes and feet awake. Gently rock the head side to side. When we find that stretch, reach the arms up overhead, stretching out through the toes. And then hug both knees into your chest. Bring your forehead to your knees, stretch out the back of the neck. And head and shoulders back on the floor. We roll onto either side of the body. Just curl up here for a few breaths. We'll find our comfortable seated position, eyes soft or closed. And a quote from the Buddha this morning: the human mind can create conflict. It can also create peace. To find peace in the world, we must find peace within ourselves. So bringing our hands to our heart center, bow your forehead to the tips of your fingers. The light within me honors and recognizes the light within all of you. And namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful
Thank you.
day. We miss Bill. It's a little
Yeah,
quiet there.
no guitar.
No guitar, but just